Hello, and welcome to the Dahlia World Gardens presentation of Seattle at Dawn, Book 8, Apocalyptical Ascension. I am our storyteller, Tim Dahlia. Thank you for joining us. If you are returning to the show, welcome back. If you are joining us now for the first time, thank you for checking us out. What you are about to watch is an actual play of Mage the Ascension, a tabletop role-playing game of horror and hope set in the world of darkness. It follows the lives of mortal mages living in and around Seattle on their quests for enlightenment. And let us meet 3 mages venturing into the streets of Seattle this session. First, I shall bring up Scott Gilbert.
Hello,
Hi.
Scott Gilbert. I'm playing Carl Weatherman. I go by he, him pronouns, and my character is a part of the Dream Speakers, and I can't wait for the new season. Yeah.
So to speak, yes, absolutely. Some wild things. All of you have seen some crazy things leading up to this. Wim, go ahead and get yourself introduced.
Hi, my name is Wim. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Vesper Watts. Yeah, it's a bit of a interesting situation. Does not looking great, but we'll maybe figure it out.
That's the hope. And Scott Corprew.
Hello, Scott Corprew. He, him pronouns. I am playing Professor Lucas of the Society of Ether, who, if you ask him in passing, will describe himself as an explorer of sorts.
Mm-hmm. I love it. All right. Well, this is a game that draws inspiration from the darker, more sinister aspects of our lives and mythologies. Our story may contain mature themes, including, but not limited to, body horror, graphic violence, blood, death, mental illness, power imbalances, sexual themes, and social injustice. Please watch at your discretion and remember to take a break if needed. We use a system of lines and veils to ensure player safety, and I will respect them throughout the story. There will be dark moments, but the light of the awakened can bring hope to the gravest of circumstances. So, like the video and subscribe to the channel as we tell a mage story. Okay, guys. It has been several months since the deadly Winterfest massacre and the Hillman Home church raid, marking the end to a string of brutal violence against Seattle's growing homeless population. Near the end of March, above Seattle's skyline, strange wavering green lights have emerged. The Sleeper News reports scientists are investigating and suggest that there is nothing to fear, and it's likely a phenomenon similar to the Aurora Borealis effect. But the coming of the lights has unsettled many. Theories range from the mundane to the outrageous to outright terrifying. Some have taken to the streets to preach of the coming apocalypse. Others have taken the opportunity to affirm life and throw wild celebrations under the emerald lights. Meanwhile, despite the unusual light show, life has remained surprisingly unfazed. City life, that is. People are still punching the clock, watching their favorite shows, ordering takeout, and living their American dream. Those that can afford it, of course. On the streets, the daily struggle for food and shelter plays out as it always has, the wavering lights only casting a green hue and deepening the alleyway shadows. Today started as any other April day in Seattle. Rainy. The normal grayish sky diffused the lights in the sky for a time, but eventually the gray rain clouds parted, and the dancing strings of light swayed before the clear sky as the sun set to the west. A mix of all the colors surrounded the city, and in those moments, every witness knew what it was like to have the heart of a poet. And then, in a flash, the serenity of peace was broken. Chunks of rock fell from the sky as the earth rumbled. Buildings swayed and alarms sang a new tune of panic. To the horror of those in Seattle, the depths are drained to the west and a swell of sea rises, eclipsing the sun with a wall of water. The worst is yet to come. I believe with that, we can begin. Who is brave enough to go first?
Me.
You? Okay. Vesper Watts, agent of the NWO, recently assigned to end their old life and to start their new life as an agent. I am tracking this. There we go. Vesper, you and your brother have had a conversation earlier today. Specifically, you informed them that the world that they knew, the reality that they were accustomed to, was fiction. That you were a mage, or rather, an operative for a benevolent group of technomancers and scientists and agents helping humanity, and that you had time manipulating abilities. And as you were contemplating letting your brother continue to know these things, or wiping their memory and cutting all ties to your past, you have left the decision in their hands. From your, and this is arguably from your safe house, your own studio apartment in Seattle, you have a good view of the coastline, of the waterfront. So when the light flashed and the meteors came from above, you got a good cinematic view of what was coming. Quickly, you reached into your stash of equipment, grabbing your rifle and bestowing your sidearm to your brother as you rushed from your studio apartment to the roof. The building is still creaking and swaying. There is bits of debris coming from the ceiling and various corners in the walls, but you managed to make it up to the roof. It is sundown, and it is chaos. You can hear these surrounding alarms and the cars going off. What are you doing?
First thing with trying to get the higher ground is also trying to get an evac. Just hoping that I can reach somebody that's in a helicopter or access to one to come and get us.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, there's your brother right there. Go ahead and give me. I just want to check it out here. Intelligence plus science.
Science. Okay. Just a normal 6.
Difficulty is 6, yes. Okay, that is... You are always... 5 successes. Holy cow. Why are you this good?
Someone's gotta be. No, I don't know.
Someone's got to be. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Yeah, you quickly tuned into the logistics of what's happening. You know that there seemingly are elements that have hit the sea, but there's also an earthquake, and you have taken in that there is a receding from the shoreline. You estimate, based on all these factors and the meteorological data that you have studied, you probably have about 3 or so minutes before the waves hit the Seattle waterfront.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to radio in and just see if anybody's in the area.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm gonna come up with a different escape plan.
Yeah, you have access to the VDOS via your mirror shade glasses that keep you constantly connected to the feed. And you put on the glasses and you see immediately that there are emergency warnings all over the place, and that there are agents being deployed to nearly every potential sector that can help.
Just gonna start ringing agents and see if there's either somebody can pick me up, or whether there's at least orders to follow.
Okay. You reach out and you get Gadget, your handler, so to speak. Not necessarily your handler, but more your gadget person. But she is on the lines as well, and she's been looking for you. And she's like, "Oh my God, Vesper, what's going on? I mean,
Hey,
are you okay?"
Sort of. Probably not for long. I'm at the top of my apartment building with my brother, because we're kind of in the middle of that whole like
What?
flashy thing. What do we need to do?
I really wish you guys would stop calling it the flashy thing. God damn Will Smith. Okay.
I forget the name. Sorry.
Exactly, because Will Smith put it in everybody's heads. Okay. Sure. I can try to get a dispatch. I don't know if I can get anybody out there. The emergency services are stretched, and they're all going towards other priorities. Let me see what I can do. I am going to see what she can do.
Yeah, like even if there's just like a helicopter that'll fly by, I got the grappling hook that you've made. We could just like hitch a ride.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry, my friend. Everybody seems to be tapped. There's, chaos in the streets, and we got to help the sleepers. You're on your own.
Is there at least a place that I can aim to try and get to? I know it's gonna be difficult to get anywhere in like the 3 minutes that I'll have.
Someplace dry.
All right. Yeah. Well. Thanks. I guess I'll figure it out. Any orders? Anything?
Stay alive. Help out the sleepers. Find a way to get to. Oh God, we're evacuating now. So you can't really get to Construct Gray. We're right in the splash zone.
All right. I'll figure out a place to survive. Send me coordinates when you have them.
Will do. And good luck. And you hear her like grabbing all her stuff as she's trying to find a way to evacuate, because you recognize that Construct Gray is on 3rd Avenue. So that's really close to Pike Place. Just really close to the water. So
Uh, in is the Can I tell whether the wave is going to be as tall as the building or taller?
Go ahead and make a wits and a perception and alertness. See if you can accurately gauge the size of a tsunami. Meanwhile, Jonah's just standing there like, where do we go? Where do we go? What do we do? He's got a gun and he doesn't really know what he's doing with it.
It's like, first off, gun safety. Just don't panic too much. I'm gonna try and find a place to bunker down.
Yeah. So you got 2 successes. You can see that the wave is 100 meters tall or more. It is large. It doesn't seem likely that it would overtake the height of the building that you're in. You can still see, kind of past it. But closer to the shore, it is definitely going to hit hard. And it's going to engulf a lot of the shorter buildings.
Okay. I'll try to go just into like one floor down so that we have like walls around us, so in case it like does get jostled, we don't like fly off or anything. And then try and find a room to just kind of bunker in until at least till after the waves hit.
Yeah. From your earlier stellar roll with science, you would also be aware that this is not the only wave that's going to be coming.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to probably come. If it were just an earthquake, you would probably expect like a series of tsunami in smaller increments. But you're also not sure because it's not just an earthquake. It is also, it looks like a displacement. And displacements tend to create larger tsunamis and can probably have multiple waves. There may be some interference between the two. You're not sure. Science is weird. Wave science, even stranger. So,
yeah, we'll
you
try and
find
tank the first wave and then go from there.
All right. You find that you get down to the top floor. You go out from, or you go down. You rush into one of the rooms, and there is a older couple just standing there watching the wave come, holding each other, crying.
As we move in, I point to my brother, be like, hide the gun, and then put mine on my back in just kind of the holstered form.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to kind of gather them and try and put them into a safer spot in the corner.
The building rumbles again. There's a little bit more of a shake. Outside, you can hear the sound of the wind being forced through the skyscraper as it whistles between the buildings. This sound as the swell reaches its apex. The coastline waters pull even further out, welcoming the coming deluge. The couple are... They seem to accept your authority. The mirror shades, the training kicks in, and they almost immediately kind of follow your lead. They're sobbing a bit, they're a little quiet, a little shaken, but not hard to corral them to safety.
Good. I don't have great charisma, so I'm glad they just kind of went with it. Yeah, just shuffle them into a safer spot and then brace for that first wave.
Yeah, you get people to areas of the apartments that have some structural integrity above them. Countertops or archways, that sort of thing, just to make sure that the debris that might fall, though here at the top floor, not as much of a concern. Being a part of a greater fall, maybe. However, the wave is beginning to crash, and where are you at this moment?
Probably braced against a wall, like slightly pinning my brother to the same wall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Louder than the sirens or anything else going on in the panic below, the crash of water against the Seattle waterfront echoes throughout the area. You hear the twisting of metal and the clash of cars and brick and asphalt. The wave crushes everything that it hits, and from your view you can see a river of cars and people and trees and bicycles and all sorts of debris running through the streets, hitting buildings as if they were all their own little channels of water. It goes several blocks into the waterfront, into the more interior regions of Seattle. It is a disaster, and your sense of where Construct Gray would be, you notice that that area too seems to be hit rather hard. The water continues to push inland. You, in your area, are you suspect you are safer and you are not going to be hit with as much water. But you do recognize that you are in an area kind of in between the sea and Lake Union. And there might be continued like a cyclical tsunami effect. Because again, you rolled 5 successes on a science roll, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You know that water dynamics, that's going to come as well. But that gives you a 3-minute window to get away from where you're at before the next flooding from another body of water.
Yeah, I just don't think I can get like out of the building. I mean, like alone out of the building within 3 minutes.
I'll say it's more of a 3 to 6 minute window. It's yeah. But you have advantages as a member of the New World Order.
Is there anywhere that I know that would be relatively safe from it? Like where they are likely evacuating people to?
There are a series of shelters that might fit the category. There are, there's a series of shelters that have been set up for the homeless, halfway homes, etc. But they are typically already occupied.
Okay.
And of course, the Seattle Underground is not safe.
Yeah. Because the goal just then to get out of Seattle.
It's whatever goal you have. There are places in Seattle that would be safe. Like I said, the ones that are more nestled in between, probably on or east of the I-5, but not too close to Lake Washington. Though that would not be as severe as the seafront.
Okay, probably try and just see if we can leg it in that direction. Okay. Like start a like a mental timer using my perfect internal clock
Mhm.
of trying to run down the building into another one that we could be able to take the next wave, try to make it as far down as we can.
Okay.
And would I be able to cast perfect timing and kind of use that like on myself, but have it kind of affect the group because of that? Because I'm taking
Yeah.
my brother and the other couple, then just like we get like in the like farthest building we can, like right on time, would be the ideal.
Okay. So yeah, you're looking to move the group with your perfect timing into a secure facility and then continue with perfect timing
Mm-hmm.
until you get to a place that is um, secure or
Yeah.
more overall secure. Yes, you can absolutely do that. It would take um, more successes
Okay.
than normal. So perfect timing. Let me just take a look here. This is more of a this works with your VDOS. So with the system, you are getting input from where the waves are expected to hit, and so yeah, go ahead and this is still going to be a coincidental effect. So roll your enlightenment plus a DP mod of 3. Spend willpower if you want an automatic success, and spend quintessence if you want to lower the difficulty from 4 to 3.
Um,
But 4 is pretty low.
I think I'll be fine. Because how many successes will I need?
The base of the spell. I'd say you would need 3 successes.
Okay. I'll spend 1 willpower
Okay,
just to be safe.
fair enough.
Okay.
Oh
I
my
was in
gosh.
fact safe.
You were very safe. You got 6 successes. Um, so how do you? So you're using your VDOS and your vortex manipulator here, um, or whatever you want to call it. So how are you taking this group and progressing them several blocks as the chaos uh, continues?
Yeah, so we kind of bolt down the stairs. My brother and I each take one of the elderly couple because they can't move super nimbly. Um, and
Good
then
assumption on your part.
I kind of still one of us helping each along, and I just keep telling them just keep going, keep going, keep going, and then I'll say like in, and then we kind of duck into a building and then kind of shut the door and kind of like brace it,
Mm-hmm.
and then wait for the wave to stop, and then go on to the next one and just keep doing that building to building, slowly making our way out.
Okay. Yeah, so on foot with the crowd, you're able to stay ahead of all the different coming catastrophes as the feed from the VDOS tells you when to expect aftershocks, when to expect an influx of a wave from Lake Union or a wave coming from the oceans. And you can keep this up for several blocks. And you find that not only does the elderly couple keep up with you, but you also pick up a couple of extra sleeper stragglers that follow, seeing that you know what you're doing. Um, it doesn't take. It takes several minutes, almost like half an hour. I mean, it is all chaos as you go, but eventually, you do find yourself at one of the reported shelters that is here. And we are now going to switch over to our friend Carl. Hello, Carl. For
Hello.
you. Carl, on this day, you were setting up your first puppet for the puppet show. It was a robot. Um, I don't have a token for this robot yet. But tell
That's
us what
alright.
this robot looks like. For me.
Alright, well, he's, I'd say, about 3 feet tall, and he kind of looks like your classic, off the shelf, like, robot, with the head, with the little antenna sticking up. He's kind of got the big arms with the
Mhm.
3 fingers, but he actually has like usable legs and stuff like that. Kind of
Okay.
a big chest where opposable.
Okay. For this robot that you have
Bubbly.
constructed lovingly in the warehouse that you currently reside, have you done anything to awaken the spirit within the robot? You don't necessarily have the skills to make it, take on your personality or like Animus Vox has.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have the ability to animate itself yet, but you're working towards that. But in
Right.
the lead up to that, does this robot have a spirit within it that would be animated at this point? At
Yeah,
least to
I
you.
would have at least awakened it at the very least.
Okay. Okay. So along with this robot and Fiddy, or sorry, Bilpo, as they prefer to be called now. So, okay, and you got your data fights from
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Jazzy. Yes, Jazzy. All coordinated
Right.
through your cell phone called Selma, because she's a sassy one.
That's right.
The wave hits, and for you, it wasn't really something that you were watching or could see from the ground, and you're far enough away that there's buildings that would prevent you from being able to see the tsunami. But you feel the ground quake. You can hear the sirens go off. You know that there is danger coming, and that the show must be postponed. Animus, for his part,
Right.
looks around and is like, "Oh no, this might be the big one."
This might be the big one. Big what?
Well, they always talked about the possibility of the Cascades falling into the ocean or something like that.
Oh. Okay, so
We should probably not be here.
what do we do? Okay, do you know of a place that we can go to?
I mean, don't they say shelter in place? I don't know. I'm gonna try and call Malcolm.
Yeah, we should probably. Yeah. Yeah.
But the earth is shaking. People are panicking around you. You've got a lot of crying children and their mothers in this kind of halfway home shelter. Animus is standing there and he's trying to figure out his phone to get a hold of somebody. What are you doing?
I'm going to try to calm the crowd so that we don't start a stampede.
Okay. How do you calm the crowd?
I kind of look at everybody and I basically say, all right, everybody, we're going to try to figure out what to do. We're going to try to find a shelter and just please remain calm. We don't want to hurt anybody. And, let's make sure that we take care of the kids.
Yeah. Following your lead, one of the administrators for the shelter gets up on stage with you and joins in the chorus. It's like, okay, everybody remain calm. Please head to the shelter. We have specialized facilities here. Please keep everybody safe and just, remain calm. This will end. This will stop as another wave of shaking occurs.
Okay.
It is.
So I look at Animus. Were you able to find your number?
No. They told me that they said that Malcolm wasn't available and he was off somewhere doing something, and that I should not be here. But I can't help it. I'm here.
Then let's do that.
Let's
go to the shelter.
Okay. So
and I make sure to grab my first robot.
Yeah. You feel the wind rushing past the buildings and going out to the west. And you can hear more catastrophe happening that way as the group of you and these homeless children and families kind of crowd into this kind of short stacked building, lots of little rooms, but plenty of places everybody kind of gets into under or away from load bearing material, whatever. They get themselves safe as best they can. The earthquake subsides for the moment, and you can hear to the west loud twisting of the metal and the buildings being crushed and the cars being pushed through the streets. Several minutes pass as everybody just kind of sits and waits for the next quake, and there's several little aftershocks, but seemingly you're in one of the more drier, safer spots in Seattle. And it's at that point that more people avoiding the oncoming waves and the streets, they've gotten far enough away that they're not afraid of more coming. It's just getting further and further back. And at this shelter is when a gentleman with mirror shade glasses, clean cut hair, nice trimmed beard, looks a little like Ben Affleck, comes running with a crowd of people, but seemingly coming to your little shelter here, looking for refuge.
Do I recognize him immediately?
You recognize this as your friend and savior, Vesper Watts.
Okay.
You've had a few, it's
I
been
immediately,
a few months.
And I look up and I say, Agent Smith!
Hey, how's it going? I brought some people. It's a bit wet out there. Y'all have any towels or anything? Kind of been knee deep in water half the time. Rubble everywhere.
See, we were fortunate enough that we literally just got in here, so I haven't assessed what we have, what we don't have, or anything yet.
All right, that's fine. That's good.
I direct him to the guy who got us in here.
Right. Yeah, the administrator doesn't bat an eye, sees more people in distress, and this seems to be their calling in life. They are there to help in any way that they can, and this is a very immediate, everybody needs, shelter, warm clothes, whatever, and brings in the group and says, okay guys, okay, we're gonna have to parse the things out a little bit, but we've got the situation under control here, at least for the time being. remain calm. We'll get through this together. There may be other people that are in need of help. This is not. It's going to be probably a night of uncomfortable sleeping. I'm terribly sorry, but we only have so many beds, but we do have some bedrolls. We got plenty of blankets, and we're ready for like a power outage or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll kind of like shove my brother to go with the rest of them. While I go try and talk with Carl.
Jonah does not want to move. Jonah's like, no, man, come on.
All right, fine. Hey, Carl. This is my brother.
Hey, Carl, are you like super secret?
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't talk about that around other people. Secrecy thing.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah.
Is Vess okay?
What? Sorry.
Is Vess okay?
Me? Yeah. That's fine. That'll do.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Jonah.
Okay.
So I've kind of got it figured out about like when waves come in, or because the shades, they just kind of give a bunch of information. If we want, we can try and go out and save more people. I don't know if we have the resources for it though. I don't know what the situation is.
We were literally about to put on a puppet show for the kids and stuff like that. I literally can just. I think we need to save as many people as we can. I just don't necessarily. This is my friend. I'm from Alabama, man. I don't know nothing about no tsunamis.
All right. Then if you can help calm everybody that's in here and help with distributing, or Jonah, if you can go help with distributing stuff, just kind of make sure that everybody kind of gets what they can. I guess not really what they need. We probably don't have enough for. I'll go see if I can pop in and out and grab more people.
Okay, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I can do this. The farm. Yeah. So, your brother goes and starts working with like the influx and trying to organize the crowd, while you and Carl figure out like what you could do outside the building.
Yeah, he's good at hurting. He'll be fine.
I am going to leave my robot with Animus.
Oh, goody.
Please take care of this. It's my first.
I hear you, buddy. I know how that feels. Don't worry. I will do my best, and we'll keep everything working here. And if it gets too stressful, I'll just I'll pop another Xanax. It'll be fine. Oh, I'm Secret Service man.
Really?
Hey.
Quick question, Animus. Since there's children and youngsters here,
I got that under
way
control.
Did you put on like a small show?
He already pulls out 2 sock
that way
buckets.
the
He's
kids
like,
can like not be super fearful. Okay.
Right.
All right, Vess. Let's head.
All right. So I'll tell you when to duck in. Otherwise, try and grab anybody that you can. Check other places. Send them over here. Let's just try and take this block, and then we'll kind of regroup and see. I came from this direction, so I think I got everybody from there, but I'll try and check in the other ways.
Yeah. At this point in the day,
we go anywhere,
go ahead.
I want to use Landscape of the Mind.
Okay, absolutely. Go ahead and roll that. That'll give you like kind of a map layout of everything. So you speak up with you
that way I don't feel like I'm just a toddler running around.
Yeah, you commune with Selma, and she pulls up the proper app to basically upload this to your vision.
Okay. So, is that my Arete?
Yes, roll Arete, and I believe, you also want to add your dots in correspondence. So, Arete with a DP mod of 2. and the difficulty is 4, I believe.
4.
Excellent. Looks like
Or
3 successes. All right. 3 successes is way more than enough. So yeah, you get a very solid mental image of the surrounding area. You know several blocks out where the buildings are, and that correspondence gets to you very quickly. So you know where all the trouble spots are. Let's say we'll have you. Well, actually, I think what we'll do here is we'll have the two of you go off and try and find people that you can direct towards the shelter and move in the right directions and assist with anything that you can in this region. We will come back to you two, and we will talk to the professor and see what the professor is up to. So, Professor Lucas, what have you been up to? No. So, we are going to take a kind of a fade away, and we're going to do a bit of a flashback here for you. So, about 2 weeks ago, you met up with your buddy,
Mr. Milburn
Mr.
Humphreys.
Milburn Humphreys. That's correct. And you and he shared some pie at Mia's diner. Ria's diner. And the lights in the sky had just started to arrive, and it's gotten brighter since, but not much. The luminosity you've been tracking, but you here with your old friend, he's called you over. That's right, I still haven't made a token for you. Oh my god. I need to get on the ball. That's okay. I've got a token of your car. There you go. So, Lucas, you show up at the Ria's diner, and in the back corner, so that he can view everybody that comes in and who leaves, is your friend, Mr. Humphreys. Okay.
And where normally, as I walk up to sit down with him at the table, normally I usually have much better attire on, but he is very suspicious, even of me after all these years. So I always remember to just a short sleeve shirt. I always give him a quick. Some people may think I'm waving, but I just give them the quick gesture to show I'm not wired by the government.
Milburn, he acknowledges you, and he waves you over conspiratorially. So, what are you thinking about these lights, Professor?
I heard it was swamp gas, Melbourne, which is really weird for Seattle, don't you think?
Don't give me that bullshit. Of course it's not swamp gas. One, no swamp. Two, ain't never been a thing called swamp gas that was real.
I know you're dying to tell me something, Melbourne.
I'm trying to hear a little bit about from you as well, man, because you are way more in it than I am. You typically are the one that tells me what they hear when it comes to science. But I'll tell you, honestly, I think it's the Zigliar. I've heard reports of strange things, people forming, looking like mushrooms that turn into people. I've heard about brains being sucked out and zombies and people going back to their normal lives. It's an invasion of body snatchers, I tell you. Just like the movie and the book, but this time, real. In fact, I think that was a false flag. Those books, those movies. This has happened before, you know. It may not only be Seattle. It may actually be I heard something like this happen in Atlanta once.
Mushroom people in Atlanta, Melbourne.
Mushrooms are everywhere.
Meanwhile, he's diligently taking notes on this.
I think.
Have you? What do you think, Melbourne?
Well, I heard about like these lights, and I see them, and I hear the reports of like different people being attacked, and but it's like I said, zombie people. They don't seem to like the lights aren't changing anybody. They're not. People are doing their normal thing. Doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, this sounds like some crazy, great, crazy for me anyway. Animated zombie-like activity. Maybe they're better than zombies. Maybe they're real people with being controlled. And this also reminds me of something I read about when there was like this flash in the sky, and then there was a beacon created by some of the Greys, and that was how they marked their targets.
The Greys, and as
The Kulion,
casually,
the Kaliyuan or something like that. Whatever they call them. I think they actually might be like the mushroom people too. Just they're when they take on human form, they mutate. And they get big eyes, and their skin turns gray. And then there was this werewolf once that told me that you had to look out for the red light in the sky. Now I know this isn't a red light; it's a green light, but green is the opposite of red, and that could be go.
He casually is asking Milburn if he would like another piece of pie, as he is sort of glancing out the window. This is relatively early when the green light started appearing, but they're very prevalent at this point.
Yeah, they're definitely swimming, in the sky.
The piece that really struck Lucas's nerve there was the fact that he was talking about how people were reacting to it. And Lucas is looking out to just sort of see what he should see would be maybe at least a few people gawking up at the sky, looking to see if anybody's reacting to this.
Yeah, there are a few people that seem to look up, but when you watch for a prolonged period during the course of your conversation, Yeah, go ahead and roll perception and awareness.
Okay, this is the part where I hate to break the immersion of the story, which I'm thoroughly enjoying, but I've actually never rolled off this character sheet before.
Oh, lesson time.
It's lesson
So-
time.
Yeah, so if you pull up your character sheet for
Mhm.
Professor Lucas, at the top are 5 buttons that say die pool. And you can put in an attribute and an ability. So you can choose, in this case, perception for the attribute and alertness or awareness in this case. Let's say awareness for the abilities. And you can just click you can change the name of it if you want. But you can also just click die pool 1, and that will bring up a dialogue that will ask, what the target is going to be. And in this case, it would be 6. That's the default difficulty. Depending on circumstances, that can change. But for the most part, that's it. And then that will roll your dice. If you've got animated dice turned on, it'll look pretty. There's other few nuances, like in this case, die pool 1 through 4 takes into account your health levels, and die pool 5 does not. So if there's a roll that is not affected by your injuries, that would be the one to roll.
Okay. There were not many successes in that roll.
No, there in fact were 0 successes. So it's really hard to gauge the crowd as they walk by. Some look up, some don't. There may be some truth to the fact that some people are unaffected or don't care. It's 2022 at this point, so who knows? People lived through a pandemic, and
Milburn, do you know anybody who's, had their brains sucked out?
well, I mean, if they had, they didn't tell me.
True. Very true.
But yeah, I got a bad feeling about these lights. I think I might go, visit my cousins out west, or east rather. West would be bad.
You know what, Milburn? That's actually a really good idea.
Oh,
You know the number to call if you need to reach me.
yeah. What do you think it is?
Just because I love to give him a little bit to it makes him happy. Look, as always, you're going to keep this under your hat, right?
Always.
You probably weren't that far off with the Greys. And then he gives him a...
Oh. I think I'm going to go visit my cousins.
That'd be for the best, Melbourne.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He quickly grabs the pie. He's like waves to the waiter, and like, yeah, just put that in the box, but make sure you wrap the box in aluminum foil for me. Not for anything other than I just want to make sure that it stays all in there when I'm in the car, because just keep it in the styrofoam, it can leak and it's just gross. Oh, and an extra layer of aluminum foil as well for later.
He here, let me pay you back for last time, Milburn. And I give him a couple of 20s, and I make sure, just like from the previous conversation, that these bills were printed prior to 1985, because we all know that's when the data chips were put into the bills.
I appreciate your attention to detail, Professor, and thank you for the real money.
Certainly.
You never can have too much of the real stuff. Milburn looks around, gets up, takes his twice wrapped aluminum foil pie, heads out, and drives out of Seattle. For the time being, he'll be back. There's too much going on here. He's a sucker for, the weirdness. His vehicle of choice, of course, is a blacked out windowed RV. You take this information with you, and you know that there's going to be some work that you're going to need to do. You're going to have to look into things. So very not too difficult. You move yourself over and you traverse to your lab. What are you spending the next couple weeks researching? Let's see if we can make any. You've got some contacts that you can reach out to, and you also happen to have this state-of-the-art workbench and your own equipment that you've designed yourself.
He would probably start a low-key. The reason he likes Milburn so much is the fact that people ignore conspiracy theorists when some of them, at least some of the time, are trying to share something that's actual fact.
Yeah.
So he would start his groundwork with, he would be looking for unusual stories, peaks and trends. He would start just on the basic surface, trends that people would not be picking up on.
Okay. So like an investigation.
Correct.
Okay. Not your strongest knowledge. Hold on 1 second. I got a friend here. Okay, cool. Spider gone. I don't like it when they come down like this and I can see them. It's just not great. That was the lotto ticket that I didn't win, so it's all good. All right. Yes. So you're definitely looking into things. This would be an intelligence and investigation check. You don't have any straight up intelligence, or sorry, investigation though. So, I mean, it could be computer, but that's more like computer knowledge. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take this. Gonna be. We could use streetwise. This could be you investigating, getting things off the street. Granted, that's gonna be a higher difficulty, but it'll give you more dice to roll with. So I would say intelligence plus streetwise difficulty 8, because it's not like that's not really what streetwise is used for.
Any modifier I should be aware of?
No, that should be it. You can spend a willpower point to gain 1 automatic success on any roll like this.
I'm not. I feel like I need to build a relationship with these electric dice that have so far been cruel to me.
Okay.
And you said 8 was difficulty?
Yes. You get a lot of crazy shit. You hear all sorts of stories about um, ancient owl people that have come back to, take things over. Um, but those stories seem to be a bit older. Nothing recent. Um, you hear about um, how one person says that the lights impregnated her, and that she is, the mother of the coming Messiah. Um, and you get largely a bunch of tales that you can't quite weave together. The thing about conspiracy theory is that you oftentimes can take it and build upon it, and even if it doesn't make sense, it that's just part of the conspiracy or whatever.
Mhm.
But you sifting through all of this, you still can't quite make the pieces fit. There's no broader narrative that makes sense. A bunch of crazy
Mhm.
stories about people living in the streets on Seattle.
So essentially, it's the usual.
Mm-hmm. You are contacted by one of your fellow Society of Ether um, traditionalists, and are informed that the society has decided to uh, form an investigative group into the nature of these lights, and that they have started to put together a team um, that they would like you to at least be a part of.
Okay. He fires off a missive, letting them know that he would be applying, of course, the fanciful language of the society, because still at this point we have to keep up with that.
Of course.
Letting them know that he is very inclined to acquiesce to their invitation.
Yes, they give you the basic um, responder codes and access to Zeppelin 22, which they say they have rerouted to Seattle airspace.
It's SeaTac. Oh, wait a minute. Would he be going to SeaTac though?
No, so Zeppelin 22, um, you would know that the Society of Ether is in love with dirigibles, and they have
Oh,
perfected the technology beyond human imagination, and they also have very strong cloaking technology, and they do keep
mhm.
a series of these flying research laboratories around the globe, and Zeppelin 22 is just another one that's seemingly been dispatched to the Seattle area.
Okay. Uh, would the invitation indicate that they want to get this underway sooner rather than later?
They're en route, and they are pulling together different individuals that they feel would be helpful in this type of investigation, knowing nothing about what's happening. Um, it'll probably be a few days before it arrives. Your contact, Marcus, you've worked with in the past. He's not a society scientist, he's a society attorney.
Okay. Doing some old-fashioned investigation brought up nothing. I know I have a limited time frame.
Yeah. You do have, like I said, you have these few days with your equipment. You can attempt to do just about anything with your magic. Or, yeah, you would still consider it magic. Science. Your science.
So at this point, he would try to get a little more esoteric
Okay.
in what he's looking for. Trying to think of which one of his toys he would pull out at this point. You know what? What he is pulling out looks like, the man likes older things. Not a hipster, though. He just likes older things. No,
right,
he didn't
sure,
like it
absolutely.
before it was popular.
Hell, you
So he
liked
pulls
it,
out his...
even though it's still not popular.
Precisely, which is why he's pulling a Walkman out. And he's got the headphones with the little orange earpieces, the classic Sony. He pops them on, only there's no tape in here. What he's actually thinking is, maybe I am looking for a clue in the wrong spectrum.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, roll. There's a big button at the top that says Arete. This is definitely within your realm of detection. Difficulty on this is going to be 4.
I apologize, I don't have a button that says Arete.
At the top above die pool 2.
Oh, right in front of me, where I was reading. Difficulty 2, you said?
Yes. Or no, sorry, difficulty 4.
Difficulty 4. I'm slowly working my way up that success ladder.
Yeah, I see that.
And someday I'll have 2.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This could be an extended roll. One of the things about these type of things is that it can be ritualized. It's not something that you can, it's not if you're trying in combat one time, do it. But you can say that it takes an hour to get through the first phase of this, and you can then spend a certain number of hours on this, and that could be your dice pool. So this would just be the first of those rolls.
Okay.
In a ritual like this, you can actually spend a certain number of rolls equal to your willpower plus a certain amount. Don't have the exact rule in front of me, but you can spend more time than just the initial hour in this. It's a very SETI-like experience. It's very, you're listening to radio waves transferred into sound through the headphones, and you're trying to pick out those anomalies. If you remember Contact, what she was doing there, this is probably a similar experience for you. So you can sit there and you can listen for a long time, and for each hour that you sit, you'd get a roll.
Yeah, he's basically going to be... He's trying a couple of different things. He's walking down the street, heading east, heading west, going uphill, going downhill.
Yeah.
Maybe going up, visiting. He's going to pay the $25 and hit the top of the Space Needle.
Oh, wow. Yeah, getting up there. All right. So you're taking your trek. How long do you spend this day doing this?
I'd say probably about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so let's make 4 more Arete rolls with the same difficulty. Well, we'll do the first one. Difficulty may change if you have any failures. So.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, wow. 8 successes in the second hour. So you get a very strong, in that second hour, you get a very strong sense that there is a repeating pattern, that there is something not random and certainly not natural.
Okay.
Three more. So far, doing very good with the 8, 9. Okay. So 4 hours in, you collect so much data. like so your Walkman, of course, you're listening to it and you're feeling the information that's coming. But the recorder is taking those little spikes and translating it into some sort of pictograph that you can work with. This gives you a large amount of data that you can then study. But your own instincts tell you that, yeah, this is more than just some natural phenomenon. This is definitely something coming from a specific source, and that you can go and try and find that out through your other scientific methods. That was a good set of rolls. Holy shit. The dice don't hate you. Why do you think they hate you?
Oh, how much time do you have, Tim?
Yes. So, I would say, with all those successes, $17 total. Let me make that note. Okay, I think this is a good spot for a midway break. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes, and we'll continue. How's that sound?
Perfect.
All right. See you back here in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Bringing everybody back to the table. Professor Lucas, come back to you for a moment here. You've gathered this data. You've got 17 points of, articulation in the pictograph. This is going to be a bulk of the data that you would present when you meet up with the first scientists that are on Zeppelin 22. Is there anything else you would like to do in this time frame that we have? Any places that you would want to go to or do prior to April 12th?
I am still kind of curious to see. So What I would sort of take a drive down essentially the center focus of all strangeness in this town. I would go down closer to the water near the market,
Okay.
specifically looking for people not looking at the lights in the sky. And I don't mean like they haven't noticed it. I mean there's that old saying that the police are really just looking for people looking for the police. I'm looking for people who are intentionally not looking. Like they see it, but they don't want to look at it.
Okay. I would say that is kind of a mind effect that you're trying to read people's auras, how they're reacting to the world around them. So I would say going into this, you would roll your arete, difficulty 5. And this is going to see how many bonus dice you get to your awareness roll. All right, 4 successes. All right. So in that case, you can roll your perception plus awareness with a DP mod of 4. Difficulty 6.
Positive 4.
Yes. Wow. That's a lot of ones.
That
Okay. Pike Place Market is busy all the time until about 6 p.m. when, everybody kind of goes home. But you take a trip out, take a look around amongst the normal population, just kind of get an idea of what's happening with the sleepers, right? You know that this is also where the Conjurer's Cubbyhole is, which is the gateway to the Theater of the Mind, where your old Cabal now resides, the former joint ventures with Malcolm and Stone and Frosty and others. But also where a majority of the Cabals call their central government, so to speak.
Yep.
So, and you know the trick to get it into the Conjurer's Cubbyhole. You've been here before, is what I'm saying. Walking around Pike Place and just kind of observing everything and getting the vibe. You're not, you're trying to listen in to the mental conversations that people have with themselves, and it doesn't seem that anybody is ignoring the lights. They acknowledge it, but some care, some worry about it. You definitely got that apocalyptic preacher on the corner. But for the most part, people don't seem to care.
He would eventually spend some time pulling together making the appropriate copies that the society always enjoys. Just anticipation of the Zeppelin.
Okay. All right. So, you deliver the next day. You take you take your vehicle, Vicky, and is it Vicky? Yeah. And Vicky has a cloaking device. Vicky can fly, and you find and given the proper codes, you find and dock with the floating laboratory that is Zeppelin 22, and you meet with Dr. Dr. Mercer, and they're clearly like more of the administrative side of things.
Mhm.
But they greet you at the docking station and say, "Come on in, Professor. Come on in." Not all the team is assembled. We still got a few outliers, but we've got the central facility, and we would love to incorporate your data.
Polite as always to the society. I am ready to go with what they need.
Okay. The Zeppelin itself, when you have the right sensors, you can see this large football shaped, it would be a balloon, but you know better. You know that it's not hollow, that
Mm-hmm.
the idea of having lighter than air gases inside the balloon failed miserably, and the expansion of gases and pressure differences could cause a disaster. What they've done is they've kept the same aesthetic in the shape, but it's the material itself that's lighter than air. It's solid, but still lighter than air. And that is what is allowing this to not be a disaster. Even if it crashes, even if it catches fire, there's not going to be any pressure difference. Kind of a genius idea. Pardon me. The cabin underneath the Zeppelin is filigreed and nicely decorated on the outside. The inside is more sterile, brighter lights, and it has windows all around. And there is the captain and their crew, and they make sure that everything is functional. While the scientists inside, there's only two at this time that are staring at instruments and looking into what they have. And there is the large center table that has a holographic display of the city. It's not even holographic, it's actually hexagraphic, in that it's elements of the table itself that come up and form the layout.
I'm very familiar with that, and my data would interface with that as well. Basically, just sort of adding to it,
Mhm.
giving guidance.
Correct. So you deliver the data. You have narrowed down the band that you believe is the source of this radioactivity, and you have concluded that it definitely seems to be associated with a specific dimension that you yourself have not really visited. But it is what, as the cosmos has shifted in recent years, and as you've been remapping things, you believe that this is one that's kind of tied to what was at one point considered a very primordial place. Seemed to have flora and fauna that were more reminiscent of more of a Denisovian era, more oxygen rich dimension, almost like your home, the Hollow Earth, but even more primal. And upon hearing that and upon making these discoveries, you feel that it is more. It feels mycelial. You get that sense of that. And upon hearing that, Mark Cardassian, the apprentice, the lawyer, oh, pardon me. The lawyer's like, did you say mycelial?
Indeed. Or mushroom, if you want to be more legal about it.
I mean, I don't know about legal. I mean, recently here in this city, yes, but that's not what we're talking about. No, I actually, well, my boyfriend, he studies these things, like, a lot. Like, it's kind of his obsession. In fact, and almost as like a stage act, Mark waves his hands and a book appears in it. And he hands you the book written by Charlie Francis Newell, professor of mycelia. Of mycelia. And it is
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You flip, looking at the book, it looks like a fairly dense written book that's got, but it's written in a way that a layman can understand, like the importance of fungi in our biology, and it even goes into some theoretics of how that could be applied to future technology and expansion of consciousness. It kind of goes all over the place, but done in such a well-written way that's received some good reviews. Yeah, that's my man right there. I mean, and you turn the book cover over and you see a picture of a skinny 30-something old guy with really blotchy skin, a big nose, bad hair. He's ugly.
There'll always be fungus among us, I guess. You don't mind if I borrow this, do you?
Oh, no, please. I can always get another copy. No sentimental value there.
Okay. I am going to keep this for later. Everyone's assembled at this point. Am I the last person onto the Zeppelin, or is there still more coming?
Actually, there's a couple others. A new graduate from the academy. He'll be here soon. And Mark? Mark's like, oh yeah. I know this girl. She is kind of a genius when it comes to interdimensional communication. But she's not quite a part of the society. But I'm working on getting her clearance to, come here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with her for the past several months. She's a little weird, but who isn't?
So true. I think at this point he would just basically be waiting for the expedition to get started so that they could start looking in earnest.
Yeah. So we'll say you spend some time on the Zeppelin and you manage to kind of get to know the crew a little bit and their equipment, and some of it's good. It's just for your perspective, it's not what you would use. And so you do depart from the you get leave and you go off on your own. And while you're investigating away from the Zeppelin, where are you at?
I would so in Vicky, I would basically take the book, sort of flip through it a little bit, and then open the glove compartment, toss the book into the glove compartment, and basically say, Vicky, can you just give me the Cliff Notes?
Vicky, here's your request, and she does, for a moment, take some time, and then she responds,
Right away, Professor Lucas. Processing. Estimate 1 hour till full analysis is complete.
I cannot think of anything else that he would be looking at that point. He sort of checked the spectrums. He has an idea of where they're going. Everything seems to be pointing back to mushrooms. But he would just be waiting.
as you are flying over Seattle and having Vicky look into interpreting the book, which is essentially a mind effect to get information out of that book. I'm not even going to have you roll. It's just part of something that could be done. I'm assuming it'll get a couple successes. You have a high enough arity where I can actually say with certainty you'll do that. But as you are thinking about the next steps, what you should do is when the lights flare up and the meteors fall and tsunami rises, and in your flying vehicle that is getting a great view of the disaster that's coming, what does Professor Lucas do?
Oh boy. So the meteorites are crashing, and from that altitude, he can probably see that there's a wave coming.
Really large meteor that went out to sea, that went beyond the horizon, so you didn't see impact there, but you did see that there was seismic activity on your sensors, so you know that there was a quake happening, and you see that there are smaller meteorites that have hit into the Puget Sound itself, and that combination of things has given rise to a tsunami that is going to hit, the waterfront of Seattle.
Okay, so a
And
flying
beyond.
car would not look good in the skies above Seattle. But
No.
if people were to think that what they were actually seeing were, say, like a helicopter blaring a large broadcast of, everyone evacuate, proceed in an orderly fashion.
Yeah, easy enough. You use your combination of flight skills and just your expertise in mind, and you are able to corral people to safety as best as you can. You don't have the means to stop the disaster. There's very few mages that could even exist in the material realm that could do that. And as you travel north, you come across an area that looks like there's been, some, crowded activity moved into relative safety, and that's when Carl and Vesper, you hear the booming voice of Professor Lucas telling people to get to safety and corralling people to various locations overhead. What does the vehicle look like at this point? It's not a car. But what would somebody see?
It would basically look like their classic Coast Guard helicopter.
Okay. You look down and you see that there is a small mob of people near a park, and from your vantage, it looks like they're not looking to get to safety. They now feel that they are in a place where they can start a fight. Like there is some physical confrontation happening. People have stopped panicking about the oncoming doom and are now trying to, whether it's stress or just greed or whatever, there's some conflict happening. And Vesper and Carl, you too, as you get closer to this one of these parks in Seattle, you see that there's definitely a mob that's attacking somebody.
I just give a check to see if I can figure out what they're fighting or who.
Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and roll perception and alertness.
Was that both of us?
Yeah, you can as well.
Yeah.
All right, 2 successes there. See if Carl gets anything. Three successes. All right, yeah, it looks like there is a crowd of people that are trying to overtake a bus. They're trying to break into and get access to this bus so that they can presumably try to escape. But the driver has locked himself inside.
Did he lock himself inside with other people?
You, Carl, do think that you see that there are other people inside this bus.
Do I think they'd even make it far enough to could they with the bus reasonably get out of harm's way?
It seems like the roads here have not been affected by anything other than like standard traffic, which in Seattle can be quite a bit.
Yeah. So that still means that they might not be able to even move anywhere.
Right, but it's still better than trying to get out on foot.
Yeah.
At least these people have reasoned.
I don't know. Probably got any way to calm them down?
You tell me.
We got to figure out something because those people could probably flip the bus if it gets out of hand.
Yeah, I'm not much of a talker though. I don't know the shooty kind. So I don't know. Do you want to give
That's no
a
problem.
shot?
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go up and try to calm people down.
Okay.
And try to get them to move on rather than wasting their time trying to get onto something that they can't get onto.
Okay. How do you propose to do that? Is like
Well,
use common sense, charisma.
yeah, I try to use leadership
Okay. Oh yeah.
and streetwise if I can,
It's gonna be
and
leadership
try
and
to get
charisma. But yeah.
leadership and charisma. Okay.
Okay. And I'll give you a DP mod of 1 in the roll. Difficulty
DP
6.
mod of 1.
Yeah. And this is based on the fact that you have a very attractive person standing next to you.
We take
All right.
those.
That'll work. I'll take it.
Hey, I got Vesper spent up to 4 in appearance. Got to use it somehow, right?
Ooh.
Hey,
2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Go with them looks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's always good to have, always good to have like the face, and the
Right.
voice. So you
I
using
kind of
your
roll up and say, hey,
right.
everybody calm down. Everybody's trying to get out.
Mhm.
Just try to move forward. It looks like the bus is already full.
But the crowd is convinced that the bus could take more people. They try to argue back to you, but in the time that oh man, my throat's so dry. In the time that it takes for you to get their attention and kind of let them know that everybody's in the same situation and everybody's trying to get out, and that's that one path, that there are other avenues to safety. And
Right.
it's dark now and things have become a bit more dangerous. The light from the skies
Right.
is still giving this kind of eerie green glow. But the two of you working together are able to get their attention and pull them away as the rest of the traffic flows out. Everybody here is in this outside space, not knowing where the next to go or what to do. Lucas,
can you
you
file 'em back?
flying over see the crowd disperse, that these two had helped do that.
Is there a visible, like, from where they're at, can I see the best direction for people to go?
Give me a wits and awareness. Quick thinking. All right, yeah. 4 successes very easily. You get the information from Vicky that indicates that there is a newly built shelter just to the north of you, a few blocks away, known as the second squat.
I basically have a spotlight shoot down to sort of and announce people to head that way.
Okay. So, yeah. Over the bullhorn, you've got the instructions being yelled at the crowd saying, please, in an orderly fashion, disperse north to the squat shelter, recently built old YMCA. And the people, you see them kind of consider it, and they hear the name, and they all start nodding their heads. Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. They do start moving in that direction. Something has primed them to be comfortable with that. And your instruments, you do see there is a bit of a primal tickle that kind of waves through them, and then of course when you get a little bit more of a sense, the sensors of Vicky pick up awakened auras from both Carl and Vesper.
And at this point, we're we've got minutes.
Yes, a couple waves have come and gone. The worst of the waves are done. Now it's a matter of survival and cleanup, as a lot of the lights in Seattle are not working. The power station has gone out.
And they are both essentially, they're not going into the bus. Everyone is dispersing, and they're kind of just leaving the two of you there.
Right.
Correct.
They're clearly on their own mission.
There's always benefits to numbers. I'm gonna even in a situation like this, flying car is gonna freak people out. I have a ladder extend out the side and just have it hover down, and I am above you. Hopefully that's enough of a welcome. Hopefully that's enough of a welcome.
It's been
It would probably
worse
be
things
easier
today.
to find people this way.
Yeah, it's been worse things than just a ladder being thrown in from a helicopter so far today. It'll be fine, probably.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll climb first. You want to follow? Alright, then just get on and is it gonna be one that like gets pulled back, or are we like climbing it?
If both of you are on, it's going to slowly start coming up as you're climbing.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, when we get to the top / in, is it look like a helicopter on the inside?
So here's what happens. You get you get all the sensation of a helicopter all the way to the point where you get inside the vehicle. And once you get inside, it's strange. It is the interior of an older Chevy Cavalier wagon.
This is normal. I like try to
Holy
look over to the. Sorry, go ahead.
I just said, "Holy, Back to the Future."
It's a little like that. Yeah. Inside, there's definitely been modifications to the interior where it's not necessarily the same as the vehicle that it was built into. You definitely have. Well, Scott, you can explain. What does the inside of Vicky look like?
Well, it's got, think the interior of this Chevy Cavalier is actually more like getting into a luxurious vehicle from the 1970s. It is definitely a nice, clean interior, but there's plenty of room to move around within the back seat. We're not talking at this moment TARDIS levels of it's bigger on the inside, but it is you're not both piling into a small back seat. There's room for you to like move in and move about within the interior. Lucas is literally holding his hand up, and he's basically calling out instructions to keep people going, and then he just turns around and he says, well, make yourself at home.
Okay. Hi.
Thanks for the pickup.
Yeah. I'm Vesper. This is Carl. So why'd you just extend a ladder? You seem to have a pretty good handle of things in this thing.
Contraption.
Gentlemen, Vicky, gentlemen, where are we going?
Greetings, Vesper and Carl. Your likenesses have been added to my database.
Solid.
Holy crap. Well, you know what? You think I would get used to stuff like this by now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of choosing to not really register it and just kind of hoping it normalizes by the time I do. And then what was your name?
Lucas.
Great. Yeah, what do you need? What do you need help with? Or where are we going?
I'm looking out the window to see if there's any more people that we can herd here, or from this height, can we visibly see anyone else that we can potentially help?
Yeah. So, with the lights and with your own spotlight, you can easily get, an idea of the scope of things and people going to the right areas. At this point, people are either being herded or have already reached a location of safety, and the night sky is definitely now more in the black spectrum, with the green lights waving in between the sky and Seattle, brighter than previous nights. I'd say any of you looking out, you can see that there are, well, as the night progresses, I would say, if you are running patrols watching, there are acts of vandalism that happen in pockets where the population has dispersed. Small fires have been lit. The popular areas where the homeless traverse. Oh man. Popular areas, those seem to gather a few people more than other nights. But for the most part, it seems like people are getting to shelters and the emergency vehicles are getting to where they can. But there is, I'd say, a few blocks away from where you are, it looks like there's a fire that has been started that is starting to get out of control that does not look like it's getting any attention.
Fire. Take care of that. Question mark.
We can be firemen.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sure, we can figure that out.
I've never fought a fire before, but maybe there could be some people in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I heard you're supposed to use fire. I don't know if that's legit or not, but
As you
Agreed.
joke. No.
as you approach the flames, and the building, well, is there any, well, yeah, actually, I'd say two of you, Carl and Lucas. The flames don't seem to be just here in the material world. You can see that they are reaching into and past the gauntlet. And there's this, with your vision, you can both see the red flames, but you also see kind of a bluish green beyond the veil. And Carl, you would know from your father's library that this looks like it's a bale fire, that there is something sentient about it. It is consuming whatever it can. It's using this opportunity to do so.
Mm. I just kind of look over and say, well, that's an odd looking fire.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was just agreeing.
This is going to
So-
take more than water.
Indeed.
Okay.
Vicky,
Like electrical fire?
And I would like to use spirit sight to see if there's any way of seeing if there's anything starting it from the other side.
well, that's that. You were using spirit sight that you could see that it was what it was. Were you looking
Oh,
for
okay.
more
My bad.
information? What were you looking
Yeah,
to
I
do?
would like to see, like, I was looking to see if by some chance, since, well, it's an odd fire because it's on this side and on the Vale side. Like,
Correct.
is there any way that I could tell, like, is there someone from the Vale starting it? Or is there someone down there that started it from this side that's going into the Vale?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, roll your perception plus awareness, and yeah, difficulty 7.
Difficulty 7.
Really hard to see through fire.
Right.
But not for you. Yeah, for you see the fire itself seems to march and move on its own. That it is taking its time to consume and then move and consume and it's not just growing, it is moving. Um, There's actual fire that does seem to spread, but there's a part of it that just seems to be moving within it. With that roll and your perceptions up, you do see a form. You definitely see that there is something animated, something that's not necessarily bipedal or human or anything like that, but it does seem to have a reach, and it can, and as it moves along, and it's currently working on this building, and yeah, I can say you could even sense that it looks like it's starting to grow.
So is it safe to assume that I look at it and I see that the fire itself is sentient of some sort?
It's hard to tell. You only have that one in mind. It's hard to really
Gotcha.
sense that.
So
But your
as I'm
experience with
looking out the
spirits tells
window,
you.
okay. So I'm looking out the window, and I just blurted out. I said, "There's something definitely weird with this fire. It looks like it's consuming, like it's alive or something. It's reaching out and moving."
Is this like the owl thing? Is it something I'm very low on equipment. I just got the one rifle and a few mags. Don't have the suit. I don't have the sidearm. Kind of running low.
I'm not necessarily sure what to do here. This thing it's just consuming, and it's burning both material and in on the veil too. So, and we got to do something to stop it.
Carl, you get a text on your phone from Anea asking
Pull it
if
out.
you're okay.
I immediately put back a quick texting like found shelter, Animus is okay. Above Seattle at the moment, looking at with I tell them what I'm looking at, and I tell them that I'm with Vesper and a person who picked us up in a flying car.
Okay. Lucas, what are you up to? What are you thinking?
So I can basically see this. The fact
Yeah.
that the fire, that there is a spirit essentially affecting this.
Right.
Correct?
A extra dimensional entity, as the technocracy refer to, and you would probably consider it more like that as well.
Well, first things first, I think we need to contain it.
How do we do that?
Let's try something. This is where I take the GM for a ride.
Okay.
Lucas, Lucas turns his chair around. He comes back into the area where you're sitting. Think. By the way, concept car from the 50s of what the
Yes.
future would be like. It's a big sweeping couch that goes halfway around the compartment. He opens up the back of the area where the back of the station wagon would be, is sort of a lift area. And he's sort of scrambling around inside, and he pulls out a hula hoop.
Okay.
This might work. We might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, I fully understand where this is going. Just keep talking out loud.
He's going to head over to the window, which, by the way, it's still the push button. And he's basically going to lean out, and he is going to attempt to essentially land the hoop on the bottle.
You're going to try and throw the hoop at the fire.
Going to throw the hoop at the fire, specifically at the spirit, with the idea being that, much like a bubble catcher or something, what's going on inside the hula hoop it is effectively he's going to look to not like remove it from this dimension or anything. He wants to just pin it in one spot.
Okay. So yeah, this bit of technology that you've developed is designed to work with spiritual creatures through the gauntlet and attempt to immobilize them. That definitely seems like, in this case, it would be a spirit 4 and correspondence effect, which you have. So, roll your arete. This is vulgar as fuck, so we're gonna say difficulty 8 at its base.
Seems completely normal to me. Just every day, out of a helicopter, just a hula hoop.
All right, 1 success. Give me also a dexterity and athletics to toss it.
Six difficulty.
Difficulty
or what's
6.
the
Yeah.
difficulty 6.
Yeah. 3 successes. That's a solid success. So the ring goes flying like a frisbee into the air and manages to stay on target and engulf the tip of this now large entity. And you never understood or you've never heard a fire scream, but it does. And it then turns its attention to you as you see it flare up, and fire is now firing towards you. And at that point, we will stop tonight, and we will come back to this in the future.
Huh.
Completely normal.
That's one
Just
hell-
how I expected that to go.
Well, you're about to fight a fire.
With
Had
all
you
I
had
have
more
is a gun, so
Yeah, one success on that
Kill it, shoot
spell.
it, yeah.
That one success on that spell does affect it, but again, it's not going to. It doesn't have enough successes to be like damaging or crippling at this point. But
Right.
you definitely have the skills to do so, I would say. This might take some more time, more effort. But that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight.
thank you. It
Yes.
was fun.
We'll
Fun. I'm so glad that you reminded me.
yes, and I will want to hear your next available schedule, and I will coordinate with the
Yes.
three of you to see if we could get you guys back together. I know that text from Anea, you'll get some more coming in. She's
Okay.
she's been in communication with people, so
I
Gotcha.
didn't get a text. Sad.
oh, your mom and dad don't seem to care.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I wonder why. No. Your brother might be getting a little worried at this point, but here we are. Night 1 of the disaster in Seattle.
Mm.
I would like
Sounds
to
good.
contribute something here real quick.
Please.
The device that he used that he threw out the window is a high umbral leveraged universal hoop, or hula hoop if you just want to use the vulgar.
High umbral. What was the rest?
High umbral leveraged universal hoop.
So hulu hoop. Okay. I like it. I love your you should be a member of the technocracy with your love of acronyms.
Never let a good acronym go by.
I'm just saying they really like their acronyms.
Yeah, it's a pain to learn.
Could be. All right. Well, with that said, thanks again. I will try to coordinate and get the three of you back on screen for this. Maybe with some others that are near the fire. Who knows? The last game had Jezebel and Killian, which was fantastic having Alex meet Brian. I knew that was going to be awesome. But anytime Brian's on screen, I'm happy to. But
Right.
the two of them did a fantastic job taking out a vampire. You guys get to deal with the spirit side of things, and who knows what Anea's doing. I intentionally
That's your
split up.
favorite.
I intentionally split up the Night Hunters. They're all not together. So,
Scattered in the wind.
but thank you again, and we will coordinate and see you all next time. Thanks for playing.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks for running it.
Nice
It's
to meet
fun.
you. See you again.
Yeah.
See you later, Tim.
Have a great night, guys.
Bye.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.